We live?
We live.
I look like I know what I'm doing.
You do. Right.
All right, we're gonna have to run through this because wifey got stuff to do. I know a lot of y'all are new to our pages, y'all are new to our content. We don't like to call it content, we call it life. We just live in our life, we put it out, people resonate. But we're both counselors. I'm a meditation teacher, I'm an emotional translator. My wife is an emotional alchemist. She's also the owner of Sasha Flower Skincare. At a certain point, we're gonna show y'all some of that. We got vegan organic skincare products. We do a lot of community work. So if you came from the salad video, we appreciate y'all. We 2 weeks in, almost at 500,000. This is our first video we ever did. So the people said they want more, we're gonna keep it going. Thank you for all the feedback, for the information. And that's the good thing about being humble. Make sure we're getting hot. That's a good thing about being humble because we're able to take constructive criticism as long as it comes with a certain level of love and respect. And everybody in the comment section has been respectful, from telling me don't put my tomatoes in the refrigerator, which I have started to do, to just the little tidbits of how we could be better with production. I got the mic on today. Thank you to my beautiful wife hooking us up. So we're gonna get it popping. As my last video, some people, just a few said, why can't you make this shorter? And I'm not trying to be like other cooking videos because I give a lot of information about the cooking process, about how to make food gut-friendly, gluten-free. There aren't a lot of people who take my approach to cooking. So we're gonna keep, the 25, 30-minute videos. We'll start to incorporate shorts, but for the most part, it's a lot of information to give. So just bear with me. Those of y'all who have been patient enough to get through the whole video, we appreciate you. We're gonna keep the same vibe. So today we will be making one of my go-to meals. Sure we getting there, yep. We're making one of my go-to meals today. And this is gluten-free, for the most part oil-free. I really don't cook with oil. I'm gonna show y'all how to cook with water today. Soy-free, and like I said, gut-friendly zucchini noodle pasta. So it got to the point where when I first got on this journey, it was a lot of grains, it was a lot of rice and legumes and nuts. And even though it was healthy, it was wreaking havoc on my digestive system. So I started to go towards the gluten-free pastas, the kamut, the spelt, but even that is still difficult for the body to break down. So eventually I made my way all the way to a completely vegetable-based pasta using, of course, squash and zucchini noodles and my spiralizer. I'm not sure if y'all can see that over there. So when we get to the magic, once our sauce is made, you're gonna see how easy it is to still have that pasta feel without having to do a bunch of extra pasta in your actual system, okay? So we got a lot of this stuff prepped and we're gonna get to it. The first thing we're gonna start with, and this is something I learned from making Indian food. Eventually I'll show y'all how to make my curry. But certain herbs, before you even start to add other ingredients, you wanna let the actual herbs start to break open, right? So a lot of times in Indian dishes, the spices, the curries, the turmeric, all that stuff, it goes in the pot first, just to give it a chance to open up to allow that fragrance and that flavor to come out of it. So I haven't put anything in my Dutch oven pot yet, starting to warm up, right? First thing I'm gonna put in, fennel seeds. If you know anything about Italian dishes, fennel is a huge part of the process. So you see how much I put in? I got about 25, 30 kernels in there. And we just gonna let that open up a little bit, okay? The next thing I'm gonna be going to is my shallots. Now, I don't cook with much garlic either. And baby, can you get me the black garlic? I think it's in the refrigerator. You ain't say hi. When you come back, say hi. I don't cook with much garlic. Garlic and onions are very acidic, and if you are into, spiritual, yogic-based principles, withholding your prana, your subtle force, is very important. So in an Ayurvedic approach to food, we give a lot of credence to what foods are fire, which foods are cool, which foods are neutral. Onions, right, and garlic is extremely fire, right, extremely acidic. So I know people love to cook with their onions, with their garlic. It's in like a little black bag that's folded up with a rubber band around it. If I gotta come get it, I will. I know onions and garlic is big for people, especially when we make Italian dishes. Shallots is not as acidic, and it kind of gives you the flavor of both garlic and onions at the same time. So I will use a small amount of red or purple onions, but most of my dishes that require onions, which is pretty much all of them when I cook, I go for the organic shallots, okay? So my fennels are starting to open up. You see, I'll go get it in a second. And you'll start to see they start to brown a little bit. You don't want them to get black. But as they start to change color, you're ready to start to throw in other ingredients. Mind you, I haven't thrown in any oil, right? No oil has gone in. I'm still just building my flavor. And that's the thing with a lot of people of color, no shade, but we come from families where we only season with dry herbs. Just like I talked about in the salad video, if the herbs is dry, to a large degree, they've lost a lot of their life. So you see we got our fresh herbs here, and we don't season all at once. You want to be able to build your flavor. So I already have 2 layers of flavor in my fennel seeds, and the shallots, they're gonna start to merge and melt together. There's no reason to put any other seasonings just yet, okay? So we're gonna let that do what it do. I was talking about not using oil. You don't see any oil here. The only component that will have some of it is the sun-dried tomatoes, which they come packaged in oil. So I do my best to wipe as much oil off, but it's not like I'm actually pouring oil into the pot, right? And you can see that, you could bring this over to him, baby. Oh, you can see it? So this is a beautiful, organic, very clean brand. Sometimes you'll see brands where it's just like completely soaked. The structure of the tomato is like kind of broken down. So this is one of the best brands I've seen, right? This isn't one of my normal pasta sauces. I usually go for a pasta sauce that's gut friendly. And at this point, it will actually say that on the label, like a foodie, F-O-D-Y. They have great pasta sauces and dressings where there is no garlic, there is no onions. And that goes to show you what I'm saying. The companies even know about, and there's a huge demographic of people that realize the effect that has on your body, your immune system, and of course your digestive system. So they're starting to accommodate for that, right? Some of my other ingredients, you know, I'm a man of color, so when we have our pasta, we like a little sweetness to it. Instead of using sugar or brown sugar like I used to use, and this helps for all of your sweeteners, I got date sugar, right? Still a sugar component, but nowhere near as adverse to your system. I used to have cyst-prone skin, and growing in my skincare, a huge part to do with my wife, using her products, but learning what affects my skin. It's really nothing worse than sugar as far as the breakouts you get on your skin, the bumps. Sugar and foods that are acidic will wreak havoc on your skin. So you want to do your best to find alternatives. Another alternative we're going to use to sweeten this is date syrup, right? And then we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So this should be starting to get nice and warm. This is not a regular stove. I went and bought this just for y'all. So you can hear that little sizzle. Now I'm gonna start to go in with just a little bit of water. I'm not gonna pour this whole thing, just enough to coat the bottom of this pot so everything doesn't stick, right? And now you see that probably look real sexy on camera, right? Over here looking like my wife in this pot. Shout out to everybody that appreciates my sense of humor too. I may sound very smart. Somebody said, you must be a doctor. I mean, I take it, but I'm still hood. Even though I teach meditation and all that good stuff, I'm from Newark, New Jersey, for those that don't know. So I appreciate that y'all can appreciate my sense of humor. While that's going, I'm gonna start to cut up my tomatoes. Anytime you could get vegetables that's still connected to some semblance of the source of their energy, in this case, that would be the vine, you go with that. The only thing that I go with tomato-wise that's probably a little bit better than this is heirloom tomatoes. But if you've bought them before, those can get very expensive. Those go bad really fast. But when they are in a nice ripe state, I go with those. Other than that, a little less expensive, organic tomatoes off the vine. Okay, so this will probably be my next thing to go in. And once my tomatoes go in, I'm gonna start to get to the seasonings, right? So I probably only need a small amount. So I'm gonna just cut these, simple. If y'all can't see it, we got another camera in the building, so we're gonna splice all this together for those that wanna like really see the process. And I kinda just dice, right? You don't gotta go too fine or too big. And this is gonna melt down anyway. It's gonna turn into like a foundation for our actual sauce. If you wanted to, you could make a sauce yourself out of tomatoes and peppers and seasonings. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I've done it before, but it can get tedious. So where I can, I skip some steps, but still keep it, nice and healthy. And you ain't come say hi yet, baby. You looking, you my mascot. What you got to say to the people?
Hey y'all.
That's it?
Oh hey. So we're really excited about our cooking videos. We appreciate everyone who supported the first video, the salad video, the way that y'all did.
Yep.
That's awesome. And it's a reminder too, everything that we teach and that we're open and transparent about is in regards to emotional healing and growth and meditation and spirituality. So now that we have an open avenue to speak about something different that is still a part of
The healing journey, yeah.
process, it's just really refreshing. And we always tell people when it comes to healing, it's not just about emotions. Your food plays a huge part in how you feel. Your stomach, your gut is considered the first brain. So if you're not eating right, then you're not thinking right. You're
Absolutely.
not responding right. You're not reacting right. You're not feeling the emotions that are actually natural to your spirit. You're feeling the energies and the toxins that are coming from the food. So the more healthier your food are, the more healthier your emotions will be. So we're just grateful that we have an opportunity to expand
Absolutely.
in this way. Okay, I'm going back to
And it's been dope because people who have come just, everybody got to eat. Me and my wife talk all the time about what really brings people out as far as social media and what cuts through. It's really nothing higher than relationships, which we, have a podcast, Remembering Me. If y'all haven't checked it out yet, please do. Right now, I'm going in with some fresh time, right? But if you haven't checked it out yet, we have podcasts about relationships, but not everybody's even into that. Not everybody's into the spiritual journey, but everybody got to eat. So it's been great to see how God has worked as much work as we have both done in our respective communities. And now together, for the salad video of all things, which ain't super deep or super spiritual, but it does just remind us that nothing brings us together like food. I wish y'all could smell this. All I've done is put some water in here, some shallots, some fennel, and some thyme now. So I'm gonna put that whole stalk. I cut some to actually sprinkle in, but then I put the whole stalk. I'm gonna go on with one more stalk. I'm gonna add a little bit more water to that. Cover it back up. And again, we building flavor. Now I'm gonna go in with my first seasoning. I think the first thing I'm gonna go in with is just a little bit of coconut aminos. Reason being, again, we want that little bit of sweetness, and coconut aminos can be savory, but also sweet at the same time. Oh, my bad. So there are a bunch of different brands. I usually go with coconut nectar, but this is also a good brand. A lot of times this will be $1 or so cheaper. So just to start to have a layer of flavor, sugar, sweetness, I'll say, I go in with my coconut aminos. You could come show them this too real quick. We haven't really done anything yet, but we've already done a lot. All right, so that's what it looks like. All right, already looking like something. And then the next thing I'm gonna go in with, because we want our onions to get translucent, so about a minute or so, I'm probably gonna go in with my peppers. Another thing you wanna keep in mind is that when we throw in our veggies all at the same time, each of them cooks at a different rate. Each vegetable has a different water content, if you will. So you gotta kind of get a feel as you cook with vegetables more and more, what needs to go on first, because it's gonna take the longest to release that water content, to release that flavor, and you also able to build as far as putting your vegetables in, right? So that's why I don't just throw everything at once. At this point though, I'm gonna go in with my peppers. You can come check this out. And we talked about last week, or last video, the phytonutrients, the phytochemicals. We already got some semblance of a rainbow happening. So now that I went in with another layer of vegetables, I'm gonna go in with some more flavor. So at this point, one of them peppers tried to get out of Dodge. And to the people that's like, don't lick your fingers and stuff like that. I used to be a chef. I know when it's time to not do that, but this is food that we gonna eat. So we good. I appreciate, the support and wanting to keep us safe, but we're good to go on that. So you can show them this as well. This is a lifesaver. 24 herbs and spices. This is by Bragg's. A lot of y'all use this for apple cider vinegar, this brand. but this is a great way to flavor, again, without salt. So this is gonna be another flavor content that goes in. I'm very liberal with this because it's just herbs, no salt. I'm gonna go in with some oregano. Again, you know, great for Italian seasoning, not too crazy with the oregano, few dashes, building our flavors. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Italian seasoning. I'm gonna use more of this as I go, so I'm not gonna go crazy just yet. And again, nothing I used has salt. No oil, no salt, and I know people like, I gotta use oil. That's cooking, right? I remember the first time I did it, it was like, it blew my mind that I could actually cook food without oil. And now I'm to the point I barely even use it, all right? I'm gonna cover that up again. And a lot of this is just the understanding that breaking the program is about trying different things. I was a carnivore till age 33. I never thought I would be able to have a meal, a fulfilling meal without having some level of meat on it. And I didn't know none of this stuff at that time. I remember my first meal it was just 3 sides. And mind you, I'm a bachelor at the time. Everything is out the can, so I have my Sylvia's yams. If y'all know, y'all know. I had my Sylvia's yams, my Sylvia's collard green, and then I had my Mexicorn. You know, I forgot the company that makes it, but it's like the tricolor corn. And I just made the whole can of each thing. I had a big heaping plate, like, bro, if I ain't got no meat, I gotta have huge portions of this. And I'm eating, you know, I'm watching my little show, and I'm halfway through, I'm like, one, this is good. I've had all these things before, even though it wasn't healthy, but it was good. I got halfway through the meal, and I'm like, I'm full. It was my first time having a meal without meat and realizing I can still be fulfilled and get full without meat. And the rest is history. So a lot of times we got to just be able to break the chains, the ideas that's in our mind to get to these levels to experiment, right? So this is starting to cook down nicely. I'm gonna give my my peppers a little bit more time to go in. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna start to work on the last part of this process, which is the spiralizer. So I'm gonna just reconfigure. Also, shout out to those who gave me tips on rolling my limes. I don't have limes today. I don't need that for this meal. But I've been doing it. I've been getting way more juice out of my limes. So I do want this space, these videos to function as like a community where we could respectfully share information both ways. Also, a lot of y'all talked about when you use turmeric, you have to activate it with black pepper. I actually did that in the salad video, but it was my first one. And after the video was over, oh yeah, I forgot to add my pepper. So I did know that. I'm glad y'all said that so I could say this on the video. And also thank y'all for the pronunciation. I've been saying Lacento kale till I'm blue in the face for the past 8 years. I don't know why I never registered that extra A, but Lacinato kale, I appreciate y'all for the pronunciation correction, okay? So for this, baby, we got any other of these?
Yes.
Matter of fact, no, I'm good. I could just transfer this over here. I'm gonna give my peppers a few more minutes. And actually, as I use this, you can grab the maitake mushroom. I always use mushrooms in my pasta sauce. It kind of replaces the meat. Sometimes I actually do walnut mushroom ground beef. I'll show y'all how to do that one day. But for the most part, I get some type of mushrooms in there, but I'm starting to veer away from portobello mushrooms. It's a lot that comes with portobello mushrooms. They have to be cooked thoroughly to avoid hydrazine from coming in, which can be cancerous. There's been a lot of studies on that. Also, they form a lot of purines, which almost functions like a formaldehyde in your system and can also wreak havoc on your digestive system. So being that I'm getting away from portobellos, I've been doing my lion's mane, my king trumpets, you could bring it in. Today I'm using maitake mushrooms. I already cooked these down, right? So I'm gonna show you. And all I did with these was salt, pepper. I added a tiny bit of oil because it's difficult to cook these type of mushrooms without either a lot of water or some level of oil. It was a tiny amount of oil. I'm not gonna lie to you about that, right? So I got my maitake mushrooms. This is gonna act like my meat. This can go in and start to collect some of that flavor, right? I'm gonna mix that in. I wish y'all could smell this. Somebody gotta come out with that smell of vision so y'all can understand what's going on over here. My peppers is starting to break up nicely. And we gotta get all of that, no waste. So the mushrooms already had a certain level of flavor to them. That's now gonna start to marry with what I got going, all right? So being that these is cooked, I don't have to wait for these. And now I'm gonna open up a pocket. So all I'm doing, you'll be able to see this, we'll mix it in. I'm creating a space where everything is still cooking. And now I'll be able to go in with my tomatoes, and then I'm gonna add another layer of seasoning. So if I need to use more tomatoes, I will, but for right now, this seems like it should be okay. And I'm gonna fill in that space, that hole I just created. And you wanna make sure you get as much of the liquid as a tomato. I know some people discard that. That's where your lycopene is, right? And you wanna get as much of that as possible. That's one of the best nutrients in tomatoes. Somebody asked me about the acidity of the seeds. I did look into that. That can be an issue only if people have gastrointestinal disorder. If you're pretty healthy in that way, you don't gotta worry about the seeds being toxic to you. You would have to eat a huge amount of tomatoes every single day to have an issue with that. So even as y'all bring up certain things, I'm doing my due diligence to check it out. Now that we got our tomatoes in, I'm gonna go in with my first batch of nutritional yeast. You can be liberal with that. Look how beautiful that is. I'm gonna go in with, this is another lifesaver, right? This is all-purpose seasoning. Again, salt-free, organic. This has some of the same herbs and spices as this guy, but it has some different ones too. So it's another flavor profile. This will save you in the clutch, right? So I'm gonna go in with some of this guy. Okay, you can be pretty liberal with that. I may probably use a little bit more of that at a certain point. I'm going to go in now with my turmeric. You don't gotta go crazy with turmeric, just a dash. That's more so for, the health aspect of it. The blood flow, heart health, all that good stuff. Now we're going with a little bit of black pepper. You don't gotta go crazy, okay? And a dash of my first salt. This is the salt I prefer. I know people are big on pink Himalayan, but at this point, pink Himalayan is super processed a lot of times. So I tend to go towards actual ancient natural sea salt. Now I'm mixing together. Shout out to my brother, Herbal Chemistry. If anybody is having issues with their health, that is our herbalist, that is our nutritionist, our holistic doctor. He is a brilliant brother. So if you want to get his contact, y'all can reach out to me on IG. If you're not following me, you can follow me at Brick, BRICK, _city, CITI, _Buddha, BUDDHA, right? And you can shoot me a DM, I'll send you his information. Baby, come tell him your Instagram as well, because not everybody reads the description.
Sure. So you can find my Instagram at candice.love. That is Candy, 2 S's at the end, CANDYSS.love. But all of our information, ways you can find us, our offerings, whatever it is we are giving out to our community, you can find all of that stuff in the description. Always in links in bios. It's always gonna be there.
And I'm always, because I've been watching food videos forever, this is how I learned a lot of this and remixed it my way. I'm gonna always put the ingredients in the description at the bottom. So just understand I'm never gonna leave y'all hanging to have to watch a 30-minute video to know what I use. Now we going with our red, purple onions. Was that sexy how I just dropped in? I know that's right. Be nice. Be nice. You lucky Lil Red Riding Hood is around. All right, don't mind me, y'all. Shout out to the ladies that appreciated my comment about never leaving the head out. I know you didn't even probably watch the whole thing. You ain't even know what we got into. I could have been saying anything. Right. Shout out to my brother AJ McQueen. I just got some onion juice on your shirt, but I felt this was apropos. Free food program, and my brother's a phenomenal artist out of Houston, hip hop artist that's really making some power moves. We got a great relationship at this point, and he does a lot of work in the community. He has a program where we go feed the homeless as well too. So I felt like it was apropos to wear his shirt. All right, we looking good. We getting nice and mixed in. Now I'm gonna go in with my sun-dried tomatoes. I just got a few of these. This just adds an extra pop, again, of flavor building up. Now, mind you, I haven't gone in with my basil yet. That's not gonna go in until we have our sauce, which we're about to pretty much do in a second. Okay. Yeah, that's looking good. And again, this is pretty much my food because she's just getting into exploring food, so she don't eat everything yet. She know I get busy. She got certain things that she's adopted, but this is pretty much what I'm gonna eat. So again, don't worry about that. I also want to shout out Everything V. And she did this out of the kindness of our heart, just appreciating the output me and my wife give, to our audience. She didn't even know I had a viral salad video where I would be able to properly promote her brand. So this is a black-owned, black woman-owned spice brand. She sent us 3 different spices, and this is dope because this is extremely dope because, I had a conversation with her that I'm not big into salt and garlic. So she actually even lists the amount of garlic. I don't know if they'll be able to see that. So you understand how much you're working with. A lot of these brands, they just gonna give you the ingredients, but you don't know the quotient of each ingredient. You don't know how much salt is in those seasoning salts and things of that nature. So I like to have a controlled environment, even down to what I'm using in my spices. So make sure y'all follow Everything V, also known as V the Goddess on Instagram. I appreciate you, my love. All right, so we looking good. This has started to melt down, right? And you can just kind of crush up the tomatoes a little bit to get that saucy feel. And now we about to go in with our sauce. Just making sure there's nothing else I need to go to before my sauce. One more thing, tomato paste. So this is another layer of the tomato flavor. You don't gotta go too crazy, just a few dollops. I don't know what it is about that word that I don't trust. Dollops. 2 dollops? Nah, those ain't dollops. Those is dollies. Dolly Partons, bars. And shout out to, I'm not gonna say their name, but shout out to, cause y'all ain't kept me no check yet. To these little things, they doing a much better job than I anticipated. It's getting the job done. Okay. Now we going with our sauce. It's already fire. All right, so the thing with sauce, if you are new to cooking, some people think you throw this in and you done. This is a base. You gotta still season it and get flavor out of this. If you was to try to make pasta without adding more stuff, it's not gonna taste like nothing. So to protect myself from the splatter, we going with our sauce. All right, I'm gonna have my sous chef do me a favor, because we don't waste nothing. Oh, matter of fact, I'm good. Forgot, I already got my water. So we don't waste anything. We like to keep our, what is it? Thumbprint?
Yeah, carbon.
Carbon emission, carbon print, whatever it is. Whatever you waste, you cause the planet to have to produce more energy because people got to make more of it. So not wasting is extremely helpful for Mother Earth. So even that little bit of sauce that was in there, we getting that out. And we need to add a little water anyway. All right. This already looking like something. We almost done. The sauce is pretty much to the point where I can let it simmer. Once I give it one more layer of flavor, we'll go to our zucchini noodles. We almost there. All right. So you taste it to see where you at. If you are cooking for multiple people, have multiple spoons. Again, I ain't got to do that. So I'm going to go in with the Everything V. Got some garlic herb seasoning. Okay. This is where we need some sweetness. So I'm going to do more nutritional yeast. Again, you can always go crazy with your nutritional yeast. I'm going to go in with a little more Italian seasoning. Okay, nothing too crazy. Now we go in with our basils, right? So this is a pretty good amount. So what I like to do is strip off a few that's actually gonna like melt into the sauce. And then I leave one kind of coarse. Yeah, that should be good. With the stem on it. I'll be able to take that out once it's done, but that stem also adds a certain layer of flavor. I'm gonna go in now with my sweeteners. And you just gotta play this by ear. You never wanna go with too much off the top because you can't take it out. So you just keep going in with your sweeteners until it gets that perfect balance of savory and sweetness. I can go in there too. Okay. Let's see what that's looking like. I'm gonna let that cook down for a few and then go back in and taste it, see what it needs. Now I'm about to start to work on my zucchini noodles. You wanna tell them about your book and your book club as well as your products?
Oh, yeah. So I recently just published my first book called...
Y'all better be clapping for my wife wherever y'all at.
I titled Remember Who the F You Are. And basically all of my clients that I have with emotional healing work, therapeutic work, counseling work, and our one-on-one sessions, all of the information on how to heal your inner child, your emotional trauma, addiction, abuse, whatever the situation is, all of that information is in the book. If you would like to check it out, you can go to candicelove.com or the link is in our bio. The other aspect is my skincare. I have an organic skincare line as well. All skincare products are derived from natural clays, natural oils, natural products, natural herbs. So those are the things that help the skin. A lot of people are using skincare products and they're putting it on their skin, and all of those toxins and those chemicals are going directly into the bloodstream, and they are confused on why they're having certain health concerns. And certain things going on within their body. Their skin may look okay, but the body, their internal world is actually struggling. So I have my own skincare line, Sasha Flowers Intentional Skincare. You can look on my website as well as sashaflowersskincare.com, and the link is in the bio.
Show them the wall.
Oh.
All right. So as my wife was talking, y'all saw, I'm just doctoring. I'm just doing the last bits of what I feel like the food is telling me it needs, because a lot of these sauces are really tart. So that's why the sweetness is necessary to kind of balance it out. It's not like you're trying to make your pasta sauce super sweet. You're just balancing out the tartness from what's pretty much just tomatoes. Right? Let's see. One more layer of sweetness. Right? And imagine if I was using regular sugar, how much sugar will already be in this, right? So the date, sugar and the date syrup helps tremendously, right? Okay. And there's not much coming out. I know y'all see me shaking this. It's not much coming in here. That should do it. I'm gonna let that cook down before I put anything else in it, and we'll work on our zucchini noodles. Look at that richness, man. Oof. Wish y'all could smell it. All right, so I'm gonna turn this down somewhat and let that start to just simmer. I'm gonna turn this on high. Matter of fact, I'll let this be my simmer pot. Looking good. Sheesh. I will be hungry. And also, even with something like this, I'm scraping the bottom. Now, Dutch ovens do very good at not holding flavor and stuff like that, getting stuck. It's pretty much from the same company as my cast irons, but this does a much better job at not allowing things to stick. But even with this, I always go to the bottom to scrape that flavor off to make sure it gets into the actual dish, if you will. Yep, now we looking like something. One more dash of that guy. Nutritional yeast. Yep, and I'll do these last two bits. Mind you, minimal salt was used in this dish. Yep. And these is just all herbs, y'all. Build, let the beat build, like Lil Wayne said. Y'all remember that joint? Let the beat build, yeah. I can't curse on YouTube. I don't really be cursing like that, but you know, every now and then, you gotta be a real. If you know, you know. I know we got people from Australia in here, Russia. Not everybody hip to the lingo. You ain't gotta be. This is family here. Okay. So now we'll go to our zucchini noodles. Right now, I'm gonna cut stem off. I would definitely advise y'all to invest in a spiralizer. Open like this. You slide this end in, it sticks on. That goes there. You do. All right. So these spiralizers, they have different sizes. Right now I'm using a 2 millimeter because that's the size of the pastas I want. There are ones that'll make your pasta bigger or even smaller than this. There's a 1 millimeter, there's a 5, there's a 7. So this is gonna be our pasta. And usually this will snap down on like an island granite surface. Maybe it's because the wood, you don't usually have to hold it. So I may actually take this to the island because it's not sturdy. But like I said, it's usually sturdy. It's just a wooden table, okay? So baby, could you spiralize the rest of this for me?
Yep.
Okay. And that's the thing, you just you know, people say, well, how did you learn how to do this? And it's just to the point where it can get monotonous in this journey when you don't have a bunch of recipes to draw on, and that was the case for me at a certain point. But when things would get monotonous, when I felt like I was eating the same thing for days at a time, for weeks at a time, just trying to stay healthy but not having any real enjoyment in food because I didn't have access to other options. It got to the point, it's like, I'll Google everything else. We'll Google the celebrity drama, we'll Google who's hiring and different stuff like that, new clothing. But when it comes down to the food, I started to get to the point where I'm like, I need to be just as curious about what I put into my body. So if an idea would pop in my head, if I had the desire to have a flavor I used to have before I was vegan, I'm going to YouTube. I'm going to Google, right? I'm going to find a way to recreate it, find an alternative, and make it happen. And a lot of times, the first time I've made things, it's worked out. It's been times where sometimes it didn't. My wife, when we was living apart, she would say, well, how did it go when you made such and such? I'm like, it ain't there yet. It was edible, but it ain't there yet. Sometimes it's taking me 2 and 3 times to perfect the dish. And that continues because you just, even when you feel like you perfected it, you find a way to get better at it. So I would definitely advocate y'all just getting to the point where you become just as curious about what you're gonna put into your body as we are about everybody else's business. All right, beautiful, thank you, baby. The reason I don't add kale now is because those type of cruciferous, somebody used that word, the leafy vegetables, they will wilt and they'll get a little too flimsy, sometimes even brown, and then you're gonna end up reheating it the next day and it's gonna cook even more. So that's why I tend to leave it out until I'm going to make my portion, okay? So I'm gonna probably bag this up, I'm gonna leave what I need, and then I'm gonna put my kale and my spinach goes in once the dish is made, but I'm gonna put some kale in here at a certain point too. Okay, that's nice and hot. We don't have to do anything but slide it in. That's what she said.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo. Well, it ain't hey, yo, I got a wife, so no shade to nobody, but. So we just go in, you hear that sizzling. And again, zucchini, squash, high water content. So the first thing we wanna do is give it a chance to just open up its water content. You can stand here and talk to the people. I'm gonna cut up that last bit. Need all that. Nah, you good. What have you learned in your food journey? There was a time where you were even scared to taste things, not just that I would make, but that I would eat from other places. You wanna talk to them about that?
Yeah, so I had a lot of trauma around food. When I was growing up, I lived with my aunt for a very short period of time, but she was one of those aunts that you can't get up from the table until you finish your food. And so I would sleep at the table because I didn't like her cooking. I didn't like that food. And so it just kind of traumatized me when it came to food. All the ways I had to like force myself to eat things that I didn't like. So one thing my husband said was, when I try to offer you something to taste,
You look scared of it.
even if we're just at a restaurant, it could be like a chip that I've never tasted before. And he said that I physically look scared of the food. And that was an indication of the type of emotional trauma I had around food and my unbalanced eating, that I'm still working towards healing that, that wound. So I've learned a lot in my relationship with food and learning how not to be afraid of it. And even when it comes to stuff like pineapple.
Right.
I've said that, I'm allergic to pineapple because it sometimes makes me vomit. But I recognize that I'm not allergic to it. It's actually working for me. The enzymes in pineapple are so strong, my body reacts to it, and it's working for me. It's cleansing out my body. So I'm just learning how to have a relationship with food the proper way.
Yeah, what's some of the things, excuse me, y'all, what's some of the things that you eat now that you thought you would never like?
Oh my God, salad for one. That salad that y'all love, that's the salad that saves me, because my thing was, if I can have something that I can constantly go to that will kind of save me when I'm ready to go eat something I ain't got no business eating. So the salad, mushroom steak with
We'll show y'all that one day.
yeah, with my favorite mushrooms. Like, it's just so good. It feels like I'm having a steak. And those mushrooms, what's the name of mushrooms again?
Oyster mushrooms and lion's mane.
Lion's mane, my favorite mushroom. It just is so good. And then my wraps that I have, I put a lot of vegetables in wraps and mushrooms, king trumpet mushrooms in wraps as well. And it just comes out really well.
And it's interesting because what did you use to rely on? It was two things.
What, salt?
No, like actual foods that you would rely on. You would go whole days not eating except for these two things. One of which you still consume, but in a much healthier way. And then the other one you haven't had in about 7 months.
Popcorn. Man, me and popcorn was out of there. I was eating it because of the salt. And then what was the other thing?
Ice.
Ice, yes.
So people don't realize that even, because my mother, she used to crunch ice. I used to do it. And people don't realize that, again, with the fires and hots going into your digestive system, a lot of times that ice goes in and quells your digestive fires, which can make it difficult to break things down. So even little stuff like that can have often has adverse effects. And as soon as she removed, the 3 big, what is it called, Route 44? Route 44 ice things from Sonic, she would do 3 of those a day. She would sometimes do 2 bags of popcorn a day and not eat anything else.
Yeah.
So for her to be able to start to experiment and go past, I may not like this, and if I don't, I just don't eat it again. But a lot of times it turned into, that's pretty good.
Absolutely.
So now she has a more diverse palate and is able to, actually get nutrients into her body. All right. So right now we're just cooking down our zucchini noodles. I hit it with its first 2 seasonings. I'm also gonna put some basil into my zucchini. Right, and again, this is just gonna act as my pasta. Right, I'm gonna put no black pepper. I'll do a little bit more garlic and herbs since I didn't do much. A little dash of salt, nothing crazy. Little nutritional yeast. Okay, that's smelling crazy right now. And I kept the top on it initially to steam it a little bit to help pull some of that water out. And now again, my water is acting as my base, so I didn't need oil for this. And this is gonna be my pasta. I don't wanna cook this down too much, just enough. And then once it's cooked, we're gonna strain it to get some of that excess oil out, and then we're gonna go ahead and plate. Now I know this is a longer video than the salad video, but again, we take a lot of time to pour into y'all, and this is an actual cooked dish. Yep. That thing is, you got that too? Wow. So this is good to go at this point.
Oh yeah.
And being that I don't have the time to do it, can you grab me some kale? Perfect. Thank you, baby. Lacinato kale once again. So I'm gonna have my wife strain this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna strain this. You could talk to the people and just cut these down for me. Check you out cutting for real, for real.
Yeah.
Perfect. You good to go.
Okay.
All right, so usually I would take the sauce I'm not going to use, put it to the side and put it in the freezer. But being that I don't have enough space, I'm going to just cook this kale down a little bit, and then that's going to get thrown into my sauce when I plate. As far as how to store, if you're not going to eat it within that day, put it in the freezer. Because again, it's dying unless it's, kind of almost flash frozen. Some people say you're supposed to wait till it cools down. I find it much better on my digestive system, where what I don't use, it gets put in the freezer. Even if I'm gonna eat it 2 days from now, I just take it out the freezer and let it thaw in time to prepare my food. So there's even a science to how you store your food. Some people leave stuff in the refrigerator 3-4 days and think it's still good. That's not the case. All right. Oh, that's chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. So I'm gonna get my bowl so I can plate. I don't really have to season this kale. I'm just trying to open it up as far as the water. Now, had I not put this on there, it wouldn't look sexy, right? But again, there's water content that's coming up because I steam it. I'm gonna let that go a little while longer. I make the food, she does the juicing. We literally juice every day, coconut water, all that good stuff. So these are my noodles. And trust me, even if you like, oh, those is vegetables, When everything is together and you don't notice none of that, trust me. So I'm going in with my sauce. I got a bigger spoon, but I just don't feel like going to get it. I want to let my wife film. Ain't we a great tag team? All right. And I got a base of sauce. Now I'm going with my kale. Sauce is fire. Even more greens. Okay. And then I'm going with more sauce. Okay. And I like a lot of sauce, and this is nice, healthy sauce, so I can be liberal with it. A little bit more protein, omega-3s, right? I'm going with my nutritional. All right. Oops, I forgot something. Going with a little bit of spinach. And once I mix this together, the spinach is going to wilt in, so don't worry about how it looks right now. I usually do this prettier, but I'm just trying to hurry up so we can do what we do. Look at all this nutrients, y'all. All the greenery. And then get this out my way. Fatty acids and all of that. Add some girth to it. All right, I know everybody.
What you on today?
I know this is how I am. Cooking is sexy, y'all. Cooking is sexy. Slide them in. Get your mind out the gutter.
It's not me.
And trust me, I usually do this way sexier, but for the sake of time, I know y'all been here for a minute. Look at that, y'all.
Oh yeah.
It look like pasta. You smell me?
That.
The thing with zucchini noodles, I cut them a little bit just to have that biteability like we talked about last time. So nothing crazy, just a few cuts both ways. All right? Get my spinach in there just enough to wilt. Oh, come on now. Come on now. Just enough to wilt. Yeah. Yeah. Sauce everywhere. Too much sauce.
Too much sauce.
Too much sauce. All right, this ain't super sexy right now, but it's about to be fire. And I already know what time it is with this, but for y'all's sake, we got everything in here, bro. Okay, let's get them. A little twisty twist. Here we go. Pasta. That's what I'm talking about. It'll look like I'm eating pasta. Guilt-free, oil-free, starch-free, carbohydrate for the most part free. Come on, man. Let me get a sexy bite. There we go. Oh, come here. You want me to bite it? Okay. I'm done with y'all because I'm about to go eat. I'll clean this up later. Thank y'all for watching. More videos on the way. Keep giving us your suggestions, your comments, your likes, and your subscriptions. Go over to my personal page. We're going to start putting these videos over there. Right now, I got a bunch of meditations, so y'all can rock with me on that level. And yeah, just support, man. Appreciate y'all before you tell me, don't talk while you chewing. I'm about to eat. I'll holla at y'all.